Okay, so during this semester in Project Lead the Way, Introduction to Engineering Design, we have to speak a common language. And common language, part of that means common units of measurement. Okay, we have units of measurement for length, for mass, for weight, for volume, for surface area, for force. And learning that system is easy enough. However, we have two systems and we have to learn both and learn how to convert within the same system and to the other system. Okay, so in our resources here, we have a little example that talks about measuring doses of medicine. Okay, and if we scroll down a little bit, we have the two systems of measurement that we have to know how to use and convert between. So we have the US system, which you're familiar with, and the SI or the metric system. Okay. The U.S. system can be a little tricky because sometimes we have multiple units for one type of measurement. So, for example, right there at length, we have inches, feet, yard, and mile. Those are four different units that all measure length. Okay, and we have to know how to convert inches to feet and feet to yards, etc. Okay, and that's easy enough if you're just converting units within the U.S. system. But we need to also be able to convert US to metric and metric to US. Okay. So with the metric system, it's a little simpler because we just have one type of unit for each type of measurement. So for example, for length, we only have the meter. But for large and small values, we can add prefixes in front of meter to indicate large and small numbers. So we can have, instead of meter, we can have kilometer for a large number, or we can have centimeter for a small number. But it's still all based off the meter unit. Okay. As we use kilo or we use centi, it increases or decreases by a factor of 10, by a power of 10. Okay. So if we scroll down a little bit, we can see some examples. Okay, we're just going to stick to length to keep it simple. But if we have a meter is approximately 3 feet or approximately 1 yard. But if we were going to measure something that were the distance, like say that we drive a car, meter would be too small of a unit. So we could use something larger, like a kilometer. So over here on the right, for numbers greater than one, a kilometer is 1,000 meters, and it goes up by powers of 10, by a factor of 10 to the third power. Okay, so those are for numbers greater than one. So when we have something that's a lot bigger than a meter, we can add the prefixes deca, hecto, kilo, mega, and giga for very large distances. Okay, but for numbers less than one, very tiny numbers, suppose I'm just measuring the length of my pen or the thickness of my cell phone or a credit card or something like that, I might need a very small unit. Okay, we're still using the meter, but we're going to get into small increments of a meter. Okay, and then we're going to still decrease by powers of 10 or by a factor of 10, but we're going to have negative exponents. Okay, so decimeters, centimeters, millimeters, micro and nanometers. Okay, so it's still all based off the meter unit, but the prefix indicates it's either a large number, multiple meters, or if it's a negative exponent, 10 to the power of negative 1 or 10 to the power of negative 3, that would be a millimeter. So just like a kilometer is 1,000 meters, a millimeter is a thousandth, 1/1000th of a meter. Okay. And converting between these prefixes in the decimal system is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. There's a little technique that you can use, but there's also kind of a shortcut technique where you can just learn how to move the decimal point. Okay, so if I have 1,000 meters and I want to convert to kilometers, and I look at this conversion chart, I can see that 1 kilometer is 10 to the power of 3. So if I have 1,000 meters, I can move my decimal 3 places to the left to convert from meters to kilometers. Okay. And conversely, over here, if I'm converting from meters to millimeters, like suppose I have 1 meter and I want to convert to millimeters, I have power of 10 to the negative 3, I can take the decimal and move it 3 places to the right to convert meters to millimeters. Okay, kind of a simple little shortcut trick. But there's a longer process when you have slightly more complicated conversions. Okay, and we'll look at some examples of that. Okay, this is your conversion factor right here. Anytime you want to convert something, you find a conversion factor which will be equal to 1 and you multiply by it. So conversion factor is the desired unit divided by the given unit. Okay, and when I use that, given units cancel each other out and we're only left with the desired unit. So in this example, we're measuring length, and we've measured a length of 59.6 meters. Okay, but we want to convert from meter to centimeter and then from meters to feet. Okay, converting within the metric system is simple enough because I'm going from a meter to a smaller number. So my decimal is going to move. Okay, so centimeter, if I look at my conversion chart, has a factor of 10 to the negative 2, and it's smaller than a meter. Okay, so then that tells me I can take my decimal and move it 2 places to convert meters to centimeters. Okay, so so down here in my example, all right, conversion factor, multiply my desired unit, which is centimeters, over my given unit, which is meters. Okay, and then, so if I come down here, 1 centimeter over 0.01 meters, this is equal to 1. Okay. 1 centimeter is equal to 0.01 meters. So if I'm multiplying by this conversion factor, I'm multiplying by 1, so I'm not changing the value. Okay. So this converts it from meters to centimeters. Okay. All right. But once I have converted to centimeters, I want to convert to feet. Okay. So then I have to know what the conversion factor is. I have a formula chart here that gives me all the conversions. I know that 1 meter equals 3.28 feet. Okay. I measured in meters, I converted to centimeters, now I'm going to convert to feet. Okay. And the conversion factor is always equal to 1. Okay, so I'm taking my measurement in meters and multiplying times 3.28 feet per 1 meter, and that will cancel out the given unit, which is meters, and leave you with the desired unit, which is feet. Okay, so the equation can always be set up with this model. The given units, and it's implied that it's over 1, times the desired over given leaves you with desired units. So given and given are going to cancel each other out. So you only are left with desired units. Okay. This is how an example of crossing it out or canceling out the given units. Okay. So going back to our example, we've measured 59.6 meters. We want to convert to centimeters. Okay. We're going to a smaller unit, so the number will get larger. Okay. And then, okay, so if we write it out, 59.6 meters times 1 centimeter per 0.01 meters, meters cancel, okay? So then we have 59.6 divided by 0.01 gives us 5,960 centimeters. If you remember the shortcut, you can look at the factor of 10, which is 10 to the negative 2. So I'm going to a smaller unit, and that tells me I can move the decimal that many places to the right. So if I started out with 59.6 and I move it 2 places to the right, that's where I'm getting 5,960 now. Okay. So now, okay, I want to convert centimeters to feet. Okay, but I have an equivalency of a meter equals 3.28 feet. No problem. I can still set this up. So I still have my given units times desired over given. Okay, our desired units are feet. Our given units are meters, okay? Meters and meters are canceling each other, if you can see the little red lines crossing them out. So that leaves me with 59.6 meters times 3.28 feet per 1 meter. So that gives me a conversion of 195.49 feet, okay? With a little repetition, this becomes quite easy, but sometimes we will have multiple conversions that we need to make. So this is a simple one-step conversion, but we're going to do some examples with multiple conversions.